Hello everyone, welcome back to the Basil House. We are today going to continue our discussion on love and to talk about the difference between love and infatuation. Infatuation is referred to in the article by Ann Landers as instant desire. It's about instantly wanting to be with somebody. You know from maybe your own experience, you go to a party with a friend and maybe you meet someone, maybe you see someone and you say, oh my gosh, I have to be with this person. Infatuation says they are the ideal. They are exactly who I want to be with. They are someone that I almost instantly want, and instant gratification, especially in our society, says I cannot be without them. Ann Landers says it is a calling from gland to gland. And if you're really not sure what that is, it's just simply sexual desire. It is attraction. It is attraction that says, I want you and I want you now. And in our society, that everyone from John Paul II to anyone in our society today would call the hookup culture, it is certainly something that we want to be with them, and we are willing to get involved even physically from the moment that we meet them. We talk about this instant gratification. It was going to lead to things that maybe we even regret. We end up in the hookup culture. We very often can end up with somebody, and maybe the next day we say, "Why did I do that?" And whenever I talk about that in class, people usually get where someone looks across the room and they're like. So it becomes one of those, oh, you know exactly what that can mean. And it might be something that maybe we don't want to get involved with, and to think about when it comes to infatuation, to think about, is this really what I want? It almost becomes about shopping, where you go on this shopping spree and you're buying things that maybe tomorrow you say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And that's really the same kind of thing. Where people might say in infatuation, I need to get married now. Let's commit to each other now. Let's, in the old culture, we refer to, you say, people go steady. Today, people just are very, very interested in saying, well, we're dating. And you commit yourself to another person, and you commit that to them almost immediately because you're afraid of losing them. And that's what happens when it comes to infatuation. Maybe we really are not sure that we want to go maybe past a certain period of time, but it doesn't matter. It just becomes something that I want them now, and I'm willing to commit to them now. It is certainly going to leave us with doubt, infatuation. It lacks confidence, as Ann Landers says. So when you think about infatuation, there are things that you have an ideal in your mind, and you are willing to do things that maybe are based on now and not the future. So we want to make sure that we understand the danger of infatuation. Ann Landers is going to then contrast love, and she's going to talk about love. Love is friendship caught fire. And when you talk about friendship catching fire, it is something that we want to be friends with, no matter who it is that we date, no matter who it is that we think that we are attracted to. You want to make sure that you are friends with them first. Being friends first will ensure that they have your best interest at heart. We know what we do for our friends. We know how important our friends are. Friends can ask us to do things that maybe we would not do. Maybe we even say, well, I'm willing to do this for a friend, but maybe even with my family, I sometimes hesitate this because we don't want to let our friends down. But when it comes to friendship caught fire, let's think about that. Let's think about, am I willing to say, I want to wait till I am convinced that you are my friend? It is very often in the Kellenberg culture that you will see two very, very good friends that are from the same homeroom. Maybe they sat immediately next to each other, across from each other, in front of each other, back of each other, whatever it might be. And those two people, the friendship started by noticing the person. Infatuation says, all I need to do is notice you. And then from that point, I'm willing to almost give you anything because I'm afraid of losing you. That's one of the dangers. Friendship in love allows roots to grow, allows you to take time to think about, where am I in this relationship? How can I allow the relationship to cultivate? How do I, before I take it to the next level, maybe I'm thinking about where I want to go in this relationship. What am I doing in this relationship? Allowing roots to grow makes it stronger. I mean, if you think about anything that you've planted, you know that it takes a little time to take root. And then once those roots grow, it becomes hard to remove it from the soil. So you want to allow roots to grow. It becomes very, very important to be able to do so. Love is also about a quiet understanding. You're not judging them based on perfection. You're not basing them on, are they my ideal? The quiet understanding allows you to go through the relationship with this person and say, I know that you are imperfect. I know that you, at times, you might even let me down. Infatuation has very little room for that. It wants immediate gratification, so it's willing to move on quickly. It's not willing to stay in the moment. It wants to exactly be where it is, and it wants to stay at that point. Love says, I'm willing to let things grow. I'm willing to let things go to the next level. It is mature. It is accepting, and it allows even for imperfect. So keep that in mind when it comes to love. St. Paul will say, love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not put on airs. Love is not about the ideal. It is about looking at the other person and saying, how do I make something Christ-like out of this relationship? When Jesus looks down from the cross and he says, Father, forgive them, he forgives a world that is imperfect, that sins, that certainly looks at his relationships and says, you know what? I still love you. And that's what we want to find especially in our romantic interests. That becomes very, very important. Love is the maturation of that friendship. It's going to rely on trust. Trust requires things to be built. And sometimes it's built one step at a time, one brick at a time. In order to get to that relationship, it's going to require us to go and to make time to be willing to go through experiences together. That does not happen in the hookup culture. It's not going to happen when you're willing to say, I want to go to this next level with you, but I want to go now. And the problem with that is you have no experience, no foundation, and if you're willing to build something on sand, what's going to happen is that it can quickly crumble when things get difficult, when things get tough. So to keep that in mind. Ann Landers is also going to say that love looks up. It pushes us up. If we learn one thing from the Bible and from the Gospels, Jesus says several times, put your trust in things that are above. And don't worry about things that are here, that are right on this level, because there's very little there's very little hope in the superficial. You need to have something that's really going to take us to heaven. And relationships are going to get us to heaven. The one thing that we're going to learn in theology of the body is that marriage gives us a glimpse. Even sex within marriage is going to give us a glimpse of the heavenly. It's going to give a glimpse of the ecstasy that we experience, when we are with God. That's going to be very, very important to us. So the difference between love and infatuation, when you did your outline last evening, the one thing that you should be thinking of that should become instantly apparent is that one thing, infatuation, is about this thing that I get now, and I'm really not worried about tomorrow because I'm willing to put all my hope in the very moment, and I'm willing to give everything away. And we understand what happens when we are willing to do that. There are times in which it almost becomes this gamble. I know nothing about this person. Does this person trust me? Does this person, are they willing to give me everything that maybe I need? Love says, I'll wait. Love says, I'm willing to build on the relationship, and build on the future. And that's really the difference between love and infatuation. There's a statue behind me of the Blessed Mother. And when you think about even the Annunciation, which we will celebrate next week, Mary has a lot of questions. But even the Bible is going to tell us that she kept these things in her heart because she was willing to wait. She contemplated. She was willing to take things and allow them to grow. And her love was there. And love says that I will wait. And I will wait till things come and things become clearer to me. So when you are involved in relationships, to think about that. To say, maybe I can wait a little bit longer to see, maybe, is this really, really what I want in a relationship? I hope you have a great day. And I want you just to contemplate the importance of love in your relationships, especially as you're beginning to date, especially as you're having these relationships, to say, am I willing to build this relationship and to take it to the next level? Have a great day.